Their crimes range from rape and molestation to voyeurism and stalking juveniles. I'm talking about convicted sex offenders, people most parents want nowhere near their children. The law says they're supposed to register with police, telling authorities where they live, work, and what they drive. But plenty of sex offenders break that law, making it harder for police and the public to keep tabs on them.
Well, tonight, KSLA News 12 Chief Investigative Reporter Stacey tells us how one sex offender opened up a business, started serving customers and traveling all across the Arklatex. He did so for some 5 months, but police had no idea until Stacey phoned in a tip.
This is Matthew Emmanuel Collier. He's a convicted sex offender, recently arrested again by Caddo Parish Sheriff deputies.
Do you have any comment, Mr. Collier?
This time, they say he violated the Louisiana sex offender registration law. I was there capturing his arrest on camera, but let's back up and let me tell you how I knew about Collier and the investigation landing him in custody.
Broadcasting live.
Recently, a parent
This is KSLA
contacted the station, worried about a food trailer called Go Eat and its self-titled chef who went by Matthew Emmanuel. Their fear, Go Eat, according to social media posts linked to the food trailer, opened up near schools and parks, and that parent believed Collier was a convicted sex offender. So I did some digging into Collier and Go Eat. Typing his name into the Caddo Parish Sheriff's Offender Watch, Collier popped up as a registered sex offender living in Caddo Parish, convicted of indecent behavior with a juvenile back in 2014. Then, taking a trip to Government Plaza, checking city records, I discovered Go Eat is a properly licensed food truck business with Collier listed as owner. But a closer look at the sex offender registry raised two red flags. Collier's registration did not list a work address or any vehicles, despite owning a food trailer. So I called the sheriff's office to see if that broke the law.
We rely on tips a lot.
That's Lieutenant Greg Wingett. He oversees the Cattle Sex Offender Registry from his office at the parish jail. Wingett says after my call, deputies opened an investigation, and a short time later,
Within probably 2 to 3 hours of getting the tip, we were making an arrest.
I was outside Collier's Southern Hills home in Shreveport, filming deputies taking him away in cuffs. Along a stretch of Highway 6 in the city of Natchitoches, at a few minutes past 10 o'clock on the night of October 4th,
911, where's your emergency?
a horrible accident.
Yeah, I need an ambulance on Highway 6 going toward 49, right across the street from the State Farm building.
DeAndre Moss, a 23-year-old man with special needs, walking home from work at Wendy's, is struck by a car.
I got a hit and run. Whoever hit him kept going.
And left bleeding on the side of the highway.
He's down here laying down. He's hemorrhaging real bad.
That voice you hear on the 911 call
DeAndre, come on, baby.
is DeAndre's uncle, Ronald Cross. He witnessed the accident, staying with Moss until an ambulance arrived.
He was one of my kids.
Katie Cross is DeAndre's aunt. She says her husband, Ronald, called her as soon as first responders got on scene.
He said, Katie, the first call I got, Katie, the car just swept him off his feet. He said it just kept going. No braking, no nothing. It just kept going.
Fighting for his life, Katie says DeAndre was airlifted to a Shreveport hospital where he died the next day.
I feel like I went to sleep and I must have hit my head or something. And in this dream, it's telling me he's gone, but I'm trying to walk and get there, and get to the end so that he can meet me.
When it comes to getting around, Mitch Iddens owns two sets of wheels, a modified charcoal gray Toyota van, and an electric wheelchair.
Get in there. So that's it. And then we're going to close it up.
At the age of 18,
It happened so simple.
a swimming accident
Just leaned over and dove in the water.
left Mitch a paraplegic
Hit my head on the bottom and broke my neck. Didn't even know I broke my neck. I didn't feel any pain. All I knew is I couldn't move, and I was face down in the water.
But these days, he's almost always on the go.
Off to see what's happening
And on a sunny fall afternoon,
We're going to ease up Texas Street here, I guess. That was one of our places on the list.
Mitch took me for a spin to show the one thing
There's one right there.
that can slow folks like him down, able-bodied people.
People that don't have an appropriate placard, either hanging from the visor or an appropriate license plate.
Parking in accessible spaces.
There's not really a lot of accessible parking compared to the number of people that are out there shopping and going to various places.
A problem Mitch believes is more prevalent now than ever before.
On a daily basis, it happens all over town all day long, just about everywhere I go.
It's a quiet little town, which I like. I like small towns.
Filled with great people. That's what's kept me here, the people.
It's not a lot of business. A lot of times it's slow here.
Typical day in Homer is people doing business, passing through, some stopping by and visiting with friends and trying to make our town stronger again.
But on July 27th, 2017,
it was horrific.
The serenity in this part of Claiborne Parish was shattered.
Everybody says this, you don't think things like that will happen here.
When 10 miles outside the edge of town at the David Wade Correctional Center.
We begin tonight with breaking news. An inmate who escaped from prison has taken a hostage.
Police say 19-year-old Amanda Carney was killed by an inmate named Deltre Henderson.
He reportedly stole a vehicle and then kidnapped a woman
who went on a violent crime spree after walking off his work detail as a prison trustee. Henderson himself killed.
There was a shootout at this location. We're piecing everything together as we speak.
During a standoff with correctional officers in a trailer home on prison grounds. Now, a year following Amanda's death,
I haven't heard a lot about the investigation.
Folks in her hometown of Homer, Louisiana,
I knew her. She was a student of mine.
Say there's still a lot of unanswered questions.
How he got out, I don't know.
About what happened the day Amanda Carney died.
Just the imagination of what it could have been was terrible.
In late June of 2017, with sirens blaring, police raced to Dudley Drive in Shreveport, responding to a 911 call.
Shreveport police. Yeah, y'all need to send the police out here. This kid is coming up the street with 2 knives right now.
Of a violent attack against a SWEPCO utility worker.
With his fist, and he got 2 butcher knives too.
By a man armed with knives, terrorizing a neighborhood.
He walking over this way with the knives. Going back down the street with him now.
Dash cam video from a police cruiser shows 3 Shreveport officers sizing up the scene.
It'll be him in that black right there in that white chair.
That's when this man, Kenny Ruffin, quickly confronted them, waving 2 large knives, ignoring repeated police commands.
Drop the knife! Drop the knife! Drop the knife! Drop the knife!
When Ruffin suddenly lunges, officers open fire. Shooting him multiple times. Wounded, lying on the ground, Ruffin tried attacking one last time, sitting up and throwing a knife at police. Surviving the officer-involved shooting, Ruffin got medical treatment at University Health. Then, the 31-year-old man with a long, violent criminal history was taken into custody by Shreveport police, charged with 1 count of simple battery and 3 counts of attempted murder. But 7 months later, inside a Cattle Parish courtroom, the attempted murder charges against Ruffin got dropped when he agreed to plead guilty to a single count of resisting arrest by force.
The evidence just did not support any other charge.
Pena Moses Field is a 2nd Assistant District Attorney. She didn't prosecute Ruffin, but during an interview at the Cattle Parish DA's office.
Some people look at this video, they're going to say his intent was to kill those officers.
But we have to base that decision on the totality of the evidence.
Moses Field defended the plea deal, saying the dash cam video